I think there are three essential ways of working with AI. AI as a tool, AI as a collaborator, and agentic AI. AI as a tool is all about making sure that the output of the AI is predictable. Think about a hammer. You have a clear expectation on what's going to happen. Good examples of ways of using AI as a tool is something like summarization or extraction, anything where we might write prompts, we give clear context, we give everything that we need in order to make the output of the AI almost deterministic. Now, the most valuable way of working with AI so far has been as a collaborator. Think about the chat interface. In the chat interface, we have a user interacting with an LLM in a back and forth method. You send an input, it gives you back an output. After a few iterations of this, we get to a high value output that we are actually happy with. So this has been the most interesting, most valuable way of working with AI so far. The framework through which we interact with the AI allows us to mitigate the negative effects of the unreliability of working with LLMs. Agentic AI takes this unreliability and it poses a trade-off question. How much control are you willing to give up for the possibility of accomplishing more stuff? So in this situation, we have a user, and the user offloads a bunch of tasks to a bunch of different agents. Each of them will have their own set of tools and context and capabilities and so on that I'm representing here as these little nodes, okay? So these can be tools to do calendar management, sending emails, writing files, whatever it is. The user is going to offload these tasks. The user is not going to have a lot of control over how these tasks are executed and whether or not the output that they get is actually the output that they were looking for. But when it works, is amazing because it gives you the possibility of do all these things for me. And all of those things are done potentially even in parallel. So far, the most useful way of this paradigm has been for things that are kind of relatively low stakes, like research reports. Because if a research report outputs something that's not necessarily useful, you don't really care about because, I mean, it's a research report, right? It's something that you're still going to read, you're still going to have to inspect. Now, as we're moving towards AI autonomously doing more and more tasks and taking on more and more responsibility, we're starting to give out more and more control for the sake of potentially accomplishing more stuff. We have to ask the question, how much control are we willing to give in order to achieve that? And I think it's an interesting question because there's no final answer so far, because AI as agents, as in this agentic era, is not as reliable as we need it to be in order for this to really take off. But a lot of people are arguing that this is going to take off this year or next year. And it's going to be interesting to see how this changes the way that we work and the way that we do stuff. Cheers.